So before we start, today is Guru Purnima. Since Parasti is our Guru in this class, I want to offer a small prayer. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat, Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for the reminder that today is Guru Purnima. Yes, and I am not actually a guru, I am just a teacher. Guru is the one who shows you the path to Bhagavan. I am just telling you what the Shastras are saying. I am myself not walking on this path, so I cannot lead you or anyone else on this path. So I am just clarifying my position. I am just a Śāstric theoretical teacher. And that's what I would like to be understood as by others also, not as a guru. Yes, anyways, I respect your feelings and those things. So, Mangalacharanam. अखिल रसामृत मूर्ति प्रसृमर रुचिरुद्ध तारकापालि कलित श्यामा ललितो राधा प्रेयान् विधुर्जयति. So, in the earlier class, we have discussed till the fourth verse of the second chapter of the first part of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, where Sri Rupa Goswami has given the definition of sadhana bhakti, bhakti in the stage of practice, training, the training stage of bhakti. So, कृति साध्या भवेत् साध्य भावा सा साधनाभिधा नित्य सिद्धस्य भावस्य प्राकट्यं हृदि साध्यता. That bhakti which is accomplished with the senses and which has bhava bhakti as its goal is called sadhana bhakti. What does it mean to accomplish or to attain bhava bhakti? It means the eternally existent bhava, the loving emotions for Krishna that are eternally existing in the loving associates of Bhagavan Shri Krishna. That very bhava, when it manifests in the heart of people like us who are engaging in sadhana bhakti, that manifestation of the bhava in the heart of this practicing devotee is called attainment or accomplishment of the bhava. Okay. So, for explaining that, Rupa Goswami quoted a shloka from Srimad Bhagavata, 7th Skanda, 1st chapter, 38th shloka or something it was, we saw. Tasmat kena pipayena manah krishne niveshayet. So, he first explained that Kamsa and other asuras absorbed their minds were absorbed in Krishna because of hatred for him. Gopis were absorbed in Krishna, their minds were absorbed in him because of their intense love for him. And Snehat, people, other devotees, they absorb their mind in Krishna out of affection for Krishna. And Narada says, people like me, we absorbed our minds in Krishna out of devotion for him, understanding him to be the God and everything. So, kena api upayena, through any means one should one should fix one's mind in Krishna. So, there was a doubt that you are instructing us to fix our mind in Krishna through any means. So you told that Kamsa and Shishupala, their minds are fixed in Krishna because of hatred for Krishna. But if we hate Krishna, then our absorption in Krishna out of hatred would not be qualified as bhakti. It would not be understood as bhakti, because bhakti is that which is done with a favorable attitude towards Shri Krishna. And Kamsa and Asuras, Shishupala and so forth, they were not favorable to Krishna, they hated Krishna. So, the commentators clarified, the acharyas clarified that The instruction is not to hate Krishna. The instruction is not to be afraid of Krishna. Kamsa was afraid of Krishna. Shishupal hated Krishna. That is not the instruction. The implication is that even a person who is afraid of Krishna and hates Krishna and thus his mind is absorbed in Krishna in that way, even that person is given liberation by Krishna. So just imagine the great merciful nature of Krishna. Who would be such a person who would not have respect and appreciation for Krishna? Okay, who would be such a person who, on knowing this, would have fear for Krishna? Who would be afraid of Krishna on understanding his merciful nature in this shloka? Who would be hateful of Krishna on understanding his merciful nature as explained in this shloka? That is the idea. So, I made a slight mistake in the earlier class. Yak khalo bhayadveshayoropi mangalam vidadhita tasminnapi ko va paramapamaro bhaktim na kurvita pratyuta tau vidadhita iti paripatya ityartha. So Narada intends to say that Krishna, who even gives mangalam, he even bestows good blessings to those who are afraid of him and hate him. So who would be that?
Yes,
Sorry.
yes, love.
So who would be that supremely sinful person who would not have devotion for Krishna? On the contrary, who would be the supremely sinful person who would be afraid of Krishna, who would hate Krishna? That is the implication of Narada's statement in that shloka. So, continuing, does someone have any doubts or questions?
No, you're pretty consistent in your explanation. I asked this question in the Srimad Bhagavatam class a long time ago, 2 or 3 years ago, when we were discussing the first Kanda. Maybe we should be like Ravana or Shishupala or Kamsa. Then Krishna will come and chop our heads off and give us moksha immediately.
Yeah, I remember that.
And your answer is very consistent. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So, our acharyas have explained in that way. Okay. So now, Sri Rupa Goswami goes to the next verse, where he describes the two types of sadhana bhakti. So basically, bhakti has three levels, he said in the beginning of this very chapter. Sadhana, that is bhakti in the stage of training or practice. Second level is bhava bhakti, having loving emotions for Krishna, which is almost the perfect stage. And the third stage is prema bhakti, the perfected stage, that is love for Krishna. Now, in the earlier class, we saw Rupa Goswami's definition of sadhana bhakti, bhakti in practice. And here, in the fifth shloka, Rupa Goswami describes the two types of bhakti in practice, two types of sadhana bhakti. This level of bhakti in training, the training stage of bhakti, has two different types. Okay? They are, so let us see the verse. Vaidhī rāgānugāceti sadvidhā sadhana bhidhā. The bhakti called sadhana bhakti, the first stage of bhakti, is of two kinds, Vaidhī and rāgānuga. So, regarding that, Rupa Goswami first defines the Vaidhī bhakti, the first category, in the sixth verse. So, this is the definition of Vaidhī bhakti, which is a subtype of sadhana bhakti, bhakti in practice. Yatra rāgānavāptattvād pravrittirupajāyate śāsanenaiva śāstrasya sā vaidhī bhaktirupjate. Let me mute Others? Vaidhi Bhakti is that Bhakti in which, because of not having uh, an interest in love for Krishna, because of not having interest or a strong desire for loving Krishna, you are still engaged in the activities of bhakti, like hearing about Krishna, uttering his names, and so on, just because of the instructions of the Shastra. Okay? The stage of Vaidhi Bhakti, which is the type of bhakti in the stage of practice. Okay, what does it mean? What is Vaidhi Bhakti? Vaidhi Bhakti is that kind of bhakti in practice, is that kind of bhakti in the stage of training. When one engages in the activities of bhakti, not because one has attraction to loving Krishna, okay, but only because of the instructions of the Shastras. That is called the sadhana bhakti as Vaidhi Bhakti. Okay, that is called the Vaidhi Bhakti category of sadhana bhakti. Let us see the commentaries of Jiva Goswami and Vishwanath Chakravarti. First, Jiva Goswami. Yatra bhaktau pravrittih pumsah raganavaptatvat ragena anavapta iti hetu शास्त्रस्य शासनेन एव उपजायते सा भक्तिर्वैधी उच्यते रागः अत्र अनुरागस्तद्रुचिश्च अग्रे रागात्मिका रागानुगयोर्भेदस्य वक्ष्यमाणत्वात् शासनेनैव इत्येव कारात् रागप्राप्तत्वमपि चेत् तर्हि अंशेन एव वैधित्वम् ज्ञेयम्. Nice. Good explanation by Jiva Goswami. So, a person, his endeavors in bhakti, his pravritti, his actions or his engagement, okay. A person's engagement in bhakti on not attaining raga anavaptatvat. The engagement of a person in the activities of bhakti, when it happens because of not having attained raga. What is raga? Raga means attachment for Krishna, love for Krishna. So, ragena anavapta iti hetu. Bhakti is not attained through raga. Like if his engagement in bhakti, if his engagement in bhakti does not happen because of love for Krishna, but it only happens only because of the instructions of the Shastra. Shasanena eva upajayate. That bhakti is called Vaidhi Bhakti. Then he says, Ragaha. The word raga here in this shloka, it means anuraga tadrutish. Raga means anuraga, love, affection, attachment. And tadrutischa, and a desire to get that love. A desire to get that love is also raga. So why does he explain it like that? Because agre, in this very second chapter of the first part, in the verse 270 to 272, Rupa Goswami will explain the difference between ragatmika bhakti and raganuga bhakti. So because of the mention of the difference between raganuga bhakti and ragatmika bhakti, we understand what is raga. And raga here means love for Krishna or interest in love for Krishna. If you don't have love for Krishna, or even if you don't have an interest in loving Krishna, but still you are serving Krishna through uttering his names, going to his temples and all other activities of bhakti you are doing only because of the instructions of the Shastras, then your bhakti is Vaidhi bhakti. Shasanena eva iti evakara. Why does Rupa Goswami use the word eva? If your bhakti proceeds only because of the instructions of the Shastra, because there is another type of sadhana bhakti, there is another type of bhakti in practice, that is raganuga, where you have attained a desire for loving Krishna. Okay? You have attained a desire to love Krishna, desire to attain that love for Krishna. And still, you are also depending on Shastric injunctions for your bhakti. When you desire to love Krishna, you still follow the Shastras. You still act according to the Shastras while doing the activities of bhakti. Your activities of bhakti are still based on the Shastras, even when you have a desire to love Krishna. So, in that stage, when you have a desire to love Krishna, your activities of bhakti will also be based on the Shastras. But Shastra will not be the only motivating factor, will not be the sole motivating factor for your actions of bhakti. There you also have a desire to love Krishna. And that's why you are engaging in those Shastric activities to serve Krishna. But here, in Vaidhi Bhakti, you do not have a desire to love Krishna also, but you are engaging in the acts of devotion because the Shastras say you have to do. You have to engage in those actions. It is good for you. It will give you the highest thing. Okay? And only because of that you do those actions. That kind of bhakti is called Vaidhi Bhakti. Does anyone have a question here? Any doubts?
Is Vaidhi Bhakti hinted at being inferior?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Then, I think we come across where we need to have spontaneous love for Krishna.
Can you say again?
A spontaneous love, like, ahai tu apratihata, like, without any conditions and without any cause.
Yes.
Okay. Then that has to be a given, right? That has to be due to grace. It cannot basically when we consciously do something with an effort, it is. I thought he was saying this is one of the steps to get into Bhava Bhakti, right?
Yes.
Vidhi Bhakti. Okay, I think we'll leave it there. I think maybe I need to crystallize it properly.
Okay.
So you're saying is basically saying Vaidhi Bhakti is not the goal. Raganuga, or rather, like, Bhava Bhakti and Prema Bhakti, if that is the ultimate goal, then Vaidhi Bhakti, does it lead you towards that, or it
Yes.
just okay?
See, we'll come to that later on in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, but since you have asked, we'll discuss. So, when one engages in Vaidhi Bhakti, according to the Shastras and the Gurus, one will definitely attain Bhava Bhakti, one will definitely attain Prema Bhakti. Okay? That is guaranteed. But the type of Bhava Bhakti and type of Prema Bhakti, type of love will be different. Okay? Through Vaidhi Bhakti, you can attain Dasya Bhava at the most. At the most, you can attain Dasya Bhakti for Krishna. And Prema in that mode also. You can attain through Vaidhi Bhakti. So basically, through Vaidhi Bhakti, you will attain attachment, you will attain love for Krishna, you will attain raga for Krishna, but that will happen when you progress to the stage of Bhava Bhakti. Only on the stage of Bhava you will experience intense loving emotions for Krishna. However, the second type of sadhana bhakti, raganuga bhakti, it is a very unique form of bhakti and it is extremely rare type of sadhana bhakti. Jiva Goswami clarifies in his Bhakti Sandarbha that ruche ati viralatva. It is extremely rare to have this kind of raga at the stage of practice. So what is raganuga bhakti? So when a devotee hears the pastimes of Krishna with his loving associates in Vrindavana, so by hearing the descriptions of the love of the loving associates of some particular devotees of Krishna in Braja, when a devotee has the desire, idam mama bhuyat, this should be my attainment. I should attain this. I want this kind of love for Krishna that this particular devotee in Krishna Lila is exhibiting for Krishna. If you have this desire, then you are an extremely immeasurably fortunate person in the whole universe. And now you are qualified to engage in the practices specific to Raganuga Bhakti. And through your engagement in Raganuga Bhakti, you will attain that very love which you are aspiring for in the stage of practice. So, while in the stage of practice, you should continue engaging in the Śāstric activities of Bhakti, while at the same time, in your mind, cultivating your loving feelings for Krishna in that particular form of love which you aspire to attain. And you will attain the love you aspire for when you attain Bhava Bhakti and Prema Bhakti. So by this Raganuga Bhakti only, you can attain Vraja Bhakti. With the love of Krishna which the devotees of Krishna in Vrindavana have, this type of love cannot be attained through Vaidhi Bhakti. It can only be attained through Raganuga Bhakti. This Rupa Goswami will clarify ahead in this chapter, I think. So, only Raganuga Bhakti will give you the love of an associate of Krishna in Vrindavan. So what to do if you don't have this rag? What to do if you don't have the desire? Okay, it should not be an intellectual desire. Okay. Oh, the love for Krishna that the Vrindavana Vasis have, that this Subala has, Sudama has, that Nanda Baba has or Yashoda has, that Lalita or Vishakha have, that Sri Radha has. I want that kind of love because it is the highest love, because it is the sweetest love. If you have this kind of an intellectual understanding, and that's why you want to aspire for that kind of love, and you say that I am a Raganuga Bhakta, then I'm sorry to say that you are not a Raganuga Bhakta. You do not have the Raga. You do not have desire to attain love for Krishna just by hearing about his loving dealings with his devotees. There should not be any Śāstric analysis. When you hear the Leelas of Krishna, there should not be any Śāstric analysis accompanying those Leelas to show that this love which is demonstrated in this Leela is the highest love, and therefore you should aspire for that. Without this Śāstric analysis, just by hearing the sweet descriptions of Krishna's Leelas, if you have the desire that I want to attain this love, then you have a raga, and then you are qualified to engage in the Raganuga Bhakti. And Jiva Goswami clarifies, it is extremely rare for a devotee in Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya to have this raga for Krishna and thus do Raganuga Bhakti. Okay. So it is not for general Gaudiya Vaishnavas also. So then Jiva Goswami also says that do not lose hope. What is the fate of those devotees who do not have a desire to attain the specific love for Krishna? So they have they have respect and regard for a great Vaishnava in this world who is living. So generally it is their own guru. So because they have great regard for their own guru who is raga for Krishna, who is practicing Raganuga Bhakti. So because they are having great respect for a real Raganuga devotee in this world, they are also qualified to engage in some practices of Raganuga Bhakti, some practices. But they should do so with the mixture of Vaidhi Bhakti. It means that they are not engaging in the practices of Raganuga Bhakti out of a desire to attain love for Krishna, but they are engaging in the practices of Raganuga Bhakti because their Guru has instructed them to do so. And by slowly engaging in that way, they can hope that one day they will be blessed by Krishna with this raga, with this desire to attain a love for him, and then they can actually start practicing Raganuga Bhakti in the fullest sense. So such devotees who do not have a desire to attain love for Krishna, but are engaging in some practices of Raganuga Bhakti because of the instruction of their Guru, they are called Ajata Ruchi Raganuga Bhaktas. You are engaging in Raganuga Bhakti, but you do not have the qualification to engage in it. That's what it means. Just because your Guru has said you are doing those activities, basically hearing specific Leelas of Krishna, reading those Leelas, thinking about those Leelas, chanting some particular stotras and prayers for Krishna which the great devotees have offered in their love for Krishna. So some specific practices you can do, permitted by your Guru, instructed by your Guru, and then hope that one day that natural desire to attain this specific love for Krishna will develop in your heart. So that's the path our acharyas have given. I hope Gopalji I have had given you some clarity. Hello, I cannot hear you if you are speaking. Yes, I still cannot hear you. Okay, no problem. We can continue. Anyone else has a question, any doubts? Okay, chat. You have some problem with your mic. Okay, thank you. So Vishwanath Chakravarti's commentary on this verse. Raga atra ragas tadruchischa agre ragatmika raganugayor vakshamanatva, same as Jiva Goswami. अथ अत्र साधनादौ प्रवृत्ति सामान्ये कुत्रचित् लोभस्य कारणत्वं कुत्रचित् शास्त्र शासनस्य तत्र च यस्यां भक्तौ लोभस्य कारणत्वं नास्ति किन्तु शास्त्र शासनस्य एव सा वैधि इत्याह यत्रेति। रागः अत्र श्रीमूर्तिर्दर्शनात् दशमस्कन्धीय तल्लीला श्रवणाच्च भजनलोभः तदनाप्तत्वात् अनधीनत्वात् धेतोः शास्त्रस्य शासनेन एव या प्रवृत्तिरुपजायते सा भक्तिर्वैद्युच्यते। Okay. So sadhana bhakti and one's engagement in sadhana bhakti is being described. So engagement in bhakti in the stage of practice happens because of two different reasons. Okay. In some devotees, a greed or a desire to attain a particular form of love for Krishna could be the motivating factor because of which a devotee engages in the acts of sadhana bhakti in practice. For someone else, only the instructions of the scriptures are the reason why that devotee is engaging in the activities of bhakti. So now the practice of bhakti, the sadhana bhakti, in which a desire to attain love for Krishna is not the cause for one's engagement in bhakti, but only the instructions of the Shastra is the cause, is the reason for one's engagement in bhakti. That sadhana bhakti is called Vaidhī Bhakti in this verse. What is raga? You have not attained raga for Krishna. Raga here is Shri Murtir Darshanat Dashamaskandhya Tattal Leela Shravanatya Bhajan Lobha. A desire to engage in serving Krishna, that this desire, bhajana lobha, this desire to engage in specific type of serving Krishna, which has arisen, this desire which has arisen by hearing specific leelas of Krishna with his associates, which are described in the 10th skandha of Srimad Bhagavatam, or this desire can arise in your mind by having the darshana of the beautiful Archa Vigraha, Archa Murti of Krishna in his temples. When some lay person visits the temple of Krishna, and if by great fortune he develops a desire that I want to develop a love for Krishna which is had by Yashoda for Krishna or Radha for Krishna. If by great fortune, if he has that desire just by having Krishna's darshana with his devotees in the temple, or if he has that desire by hearing the leelas of Krishna from great devotees and having the spontaneous desire that I want to have this love, then that is called raga. But if you do not have this raga, if you do not have this desire to serve Krishna in a specific loving way, as his devotees serve in Vrindavan, then your practice of bhakti is not dependent on your raga for Krishna. Okay? Because it is not arising out of your raga for Krishna, it is arising only out of the instructions of the Shastras. Because the Shastras say that you have to engage in Krishna bhakti, one engages in Krishna bhakti. If that is the case, then that bhakti is called Vaidhī Bhakti. Yeah. Any question, any doubt? Okay. Raganuga Bhakti will be explained in more detail later on in this chapter. This is a very long chapter. It has 300 or so shlokas. So let's continue. Yatha Dvitiye. So Sri Rupa Goswami shows support for his definition of Vaidhī Bhakti from the second skandha of Srimad Bhagavatam. So second skandha, first chapter, 5th verse, Sri Shukadeva is speaking to Parikshit, has begun his instructions to Parikshit. Tasmad Bharata Sarvatma Bhagavan Haririshwarah Shrotavyah Kirtitavyascha Smartavyascha Bhayam. Therefore, O descendant of Bharata, one should hear about Bhagavan Shri Hari, who is the master, who is the self of everyone. One should glorify him and one should think about him if one wishes to get free from fear. If one wishes to become fearless, one should hear about Sri Hari, one should glorify him, and one should remember him. This is the instruction. If you want fearlessness, you should hear about Krishna, glorify him, and think about him. Then in the Padma Purana it is said, Smartavya satatam Vishnur vismartavyo na jatuchit sarve vidhinishedhasyuretayareva kinkarah. This is the essence of all prescriptions in the Shastras and all prohibitions in the Shastras. The essence of them is that one should always think of Vishnu and one should never forget Vishnu. All the prescriptions and prohibitions are servants, are assistants of these two, main prescription and main prohibition. The main prescription is to always remember Vishnu. Main prohibition is to never forget Vishnu. All other things that are instructed in the Shastra, you should do this, you should not do that. They are there to assist you in these two main prescriptions and prohibitions. So, Jiva Goswami comments on the 8th verse here of the Padma Purana. Sarva iti. Aharaha sandhyam upasita brahmano na hantavya ityadi. Etayok smartavya vismartavya rupayor vidhinishedhayor eva kinkarah adhina. Viparite tu viparita phala bhavanti iti bhav. Chit shabdastwatra jatu shabdasya arthadhyotaka eva natu vachaka. So, sarve vidhinishedhaah. All Shastric prescriptions and all Shastric prohibitions, they are the servants of these two instructions. So, what are the prescriptions and prohibitions is meaning here. So, Jiva Goswami says, instructions, prescriptions of the Shastras, such as one should do one's sandhya every day. Aharaha sandhyam upasi. Each and every day one should worship with one's sandhya. Sandhya vandanam we should do every day. This is the prescription of the Shastra. Also, a prohibition of the Shastra is of the form Brahmano na hantavya. Brahmana is not to be killed. You should never kill a Brahmana. This is the prohibition. And various other prescriptions and various other prohibitions are there in the Shastras. These are two examples given. All of these prescriptions of the Shastras and prohibitions of Shastras, they are meant to serve this prescription that one should always remember Vishnu. And they are meant to serve the prohibition that one should never forget Vishnu. All the prescriptions and prohibitions of Shastras are dependent, are subservient to these two prescriptions and prohibitions. Viparite tu viparita phalaha bhavanti. Okay. If the prescriptions of the Shastras, like you should do sandhya every day, if the prohibitions of the Shastras that you should not kill a Brahman, okay, if they are meant, if they are not followed, then they will give you contrary results. Or if they are not used to serve the main two prescriptions and prohibitions, if the prescriptions of the Shastras are like you should do sandhya every day, if such prescriptions are not used to, if are not employed by oneself to help one in remembering Vishnu, then that prescription, that if you follow that advice and do not remember Vishnu, then you will get the opposite result, viparita phala. And if you follow the prohibitions of the Shastras, that you don't kill Brahmanas, but ultimately you forget Vishnu. Okay. You don't follow the prohibition of not forgetting Vishnu, you forget Vishnu. then you will not get the real result of following the instructions of not killing a Brahman. The main purpose of these prescriptions like do Sandhya every day is to remember Vishnu. The main purpose of the prohibitions like not killing a Brahmana is to never forget Vishnu. If you don't follow the purpose of these instructions, that these instructions will not give you the results that they are that they can give you. Jatu chit, the word chit here, Jiva Goswami says, is only an indicator of the word jatu. It is not the vachaka. It is not having the meaning of, it is not stating something with words. It is an indicator of the meaning. In Sanskrit grammar, there is a debate whether some words convey a meaning through the word itself or the word simply indicates a meaning. For example, the English word lotus actually means the lotus flower. The word lotus actually conveys the lotus flower. Okay. In Sanskrit, there are, of course, many words which directly indicate the object, like kamalam. Kamalam means lotus flower. Many such words. Like most of the words, 99.5% of words in Sanskrit directly convey their object. There are a few words which just indicate their object. Like cha. Cha. Cha means and. Tu. Tu means but. Chit. Chit here also means jatu chit. It conveys, it indicates the meaning of the word jatu. Never. Na jat. Jatu means ever. Na jatu means never. Okay. So this is the grammatical point Jiva Goswami makes here. Vishwanath Chakravarti's commentary on the 7th verse of Srimad Bhagavata quotation. Abhayam nasti samsaradi janya bhayam yasmat bhagavatastamicchata purushena bhagavan shrotavyah tena samsaradi bhayanivritti pratipadaka shastra shasanadeva pravritti natu lobha iti. So Vishwanath Chakravarti says regarding this word of verse of Shukadeva Goswami, therefore, O descendant of Bharata, one should hear about Sri Hari, one should glorify him, and one should think of him if one wishes abhayam. Abhayam means, this is a Sanskrit word having two different parts of the sentence. A and bhaya. A is negation, na. Abhayam means nasti samsaradi janya bhayam yasmat. From whom or because of whom one does no longer have any fear arising from birth and death and other such things. We are afraid of dying. This is the greatest fear in this world. Fear of death. Okay. And it is actually unavoidable. So this is the greatest fear. And the fear of suffering and all these things. So Bhagavan is that because of whom one will be free of any fear of birth and death and any other such fear. Okay. So Bhagavatah. So Bhagavan is actually the referent of the word Abhayam. If you wish Abhayam, if you wish to attain Bhagavan, because of whom you will be free of all fear of samsara. So such a person who desires Bhagavan, who makes one free of all fear of samsara, then such a person should hear of Bhagavan, glorify him and think of him. Okay? Tena, by this instruction of Shukadeva Goswami, that smartavyam, kirtitavya, shrotavya. He is to be heard, he is to be glorified, he is to be remembered, he is to be thought of. You should hear about Vishnu. You should glorify Vishnu, Bhagavan. You should think of Vishnu. This is an instruction. Tena sansaradi bhaya nivritti pratipadaka shastra shasana. This is the instruction of the Shastra which describes that you should worship Vishnu in order to get free of the fear of samsara and so on. The Shukadeva Goswami here in this verse is not telling that you should worship Krishna out of love for Krishna. You should worship Krishna because he is very beautiful or he is very merciful to his devotees. He is saying, if you want to be free of all fear of samsara, then you should worship Krishna. If you want this, then do this. This is the instruction of Shastra. So then, when you follow that instruction, your bhakti becomes Vaidhī Bhakti, which is 99.5% the case with all devotees of Vishnu and all Gaudiya Vaishnava devotees of Krishna also. Okay. So, any questions, any doubts here? Vishwanath Chakravarti's commentaries on the 8th verse. Sarvesham vidhinam Shri Vishnu Smarana Kinkaratvat Shri Vishnu Smarane Kriyamana Eva Sarvesham Vidhi Bodhitanam Karana Nirvah Eva Mananta Go Brahmanadi Hatyanam Nishedhanam Vishnu Vismaranasya Kinkaratvat Vishnu Vismarane Jate Vismatu Purushasya Sarva Nishedha Pratipadita Ananta Papa Vatva Prasanga Ityarth Satatam Pratyaham Natu Pratikshanam Tasya Asadhyattvena Vidhehi Ananusthana Lakshana Pramanyapatti. Very nice explanation by Vishwanath Chakravarti. Sarve Vidhi Nishedhasyu Retayoreva Kintara. All prescriptions and prohibitions of the Shastras are servants of these two prescriptions and prohibitions of Shastras. Okay. They are servants of the instruction to always remember Vishnu, and they are servants of the instruction of never forgetting Vishnu. Okay. So, the understanding is that Shri Vishnu Smarane Kriyamane, when you engage in remembering Vishnu, when you engage in thinking of Shri Vishnu, then it is understood that you are actually effectively engaging in all the prescriptions of the Shastras. Because all the prescriptions of the Shastras are ultimately made to help you remember Vishnu. When you remember Vishnu, you are effectively carrying out, engaging in all the prescriptions of the Shastras. Okay? In the same way, because all the prohibitions of the Shastras are meant to serve the ultimate prohibition of never forgetting Vishnu, okay, then if you forget Vishnu, then the person who forgets Vishnu is automatically, effectively possessing all the sins that accrues to a person by breaking all the prohibitions of the Shastras. If you break the ultimate prohibition of never forgetting Vishnu, then you are breaking all the prohibitions of the Shastras, okay, of never killing a cow, of never killing a Brahmana. All these prohibitions of not killing a cow, not killing a Brahmana, and all other prohibitions are meant to serve the prohibition of not forgetting Vishnu. But if you don't follow the main prohibition of not forgetting Vishnu, you are effectively breaking all the prohibitions of the Shastras, and then you are effectively implicated in all the papas that accrue to one of breaking all the prohibitions of the Shastras. Okay. So then the instruction was given in the Padma Purana, Smartavyam Satatam Vishnu. Smartavyas Satatam Vishnu. Vishnu is always to be remembered. You should always think of Vishnu. But here, the word Satatam, it means every day. Every day you should think of Vishnu. It does not mean always. It does not mean at each and every moment you should think of Vishnu. The instruction of always thinking of Vishnu, it actually implies continuously thinking of Vishnu. It means regularly thinking of Vishnu. It means every day, each and every day you should think of Vishnu. Okay? It does not mean you should think of Vishnu at each and every moment, because it is impossible to do so. Vishwanath Chakravarti directly states, it cannot be accomplished. Asadhyatvena. No one ever in this world can think of Vishnu at each and every moment of his life. Whether at any stage of bhakti he may be, even he may have achieved prema bhakti for Vishnu. It is not possible for a person in this world to think of Vishnu at each and every moment. It is impossible. Okay? So therefore, satatam, smartavya satatam Vishnu. The word satatam means think of Vishnu each and every day and never forget Vishnu in any day. Okay? That's what it means. So why do we have to interpret in this way? Why not each and every moment, and why every day? Because it is impossible to think of Vishnu at each and every moment, and because this instruction would never be followed, videhi ananusthana lakshana apramanyapa. Because this instruction is impossible to be carried out, therefore the Shastra would now be having the fault of apramanya. It is unreliable. If Shastra gives an instruction that actually is impossible to do, it means that the Shastra itself is false. It is a hoax. Okay? Shastra will never give you instructions which you cannot do. The instructions of the Shastras are always executable. And because it is impossible to execute the instruction to always, each and every moment think of Vishnu, therefore the word Satatam has to be understood as think of Vishnu every day and never forget, do not forget Vishnu any day. That's how you should understand. Think of Vishnu every day and do not forget Vishnu any day. That's how we should understand. Any question? Someone has any doubt? Right. So let's go to the next verse. Number 9. Ityasau syad vidhirnityah sarvavarnashramadisho nityatveppyasya nirnitam ekadashyadi vatphalam. This is Rupa Goswami's composition. So this vidhi is nitya. This instruction of the Shastra to think of Vishnu every day is a nitya vidhi. for all varnas and ashramas, irrespective. Okay? Nityatvepi asya nirnitam ekadashi adivat phalam. Although it is a nitya instruction of Shastra, still its result is like Ekadashi and other such instructions. We'll see what this means in the commentaries. What is a Nitya Vidhi? So, 9th verse. Vishwanath Chakravarti comments. इत्यसाविति अकरणे पापश्रवणेन भजनस्य नित्यत्वनिश्चये अपि एकादश्यादिवत् फलमस्ति. Nitya Vidhi means the instructions of the Shastras which have to be done each and every day, and usually Nitya Vidhi, for example, Sandhya Vandanam, doing your Sandhya every day, okay, chant your Gayatri every day. This instruction of the Shastra, Nitya Karma, it is called Nitya Karma. Why Nitya Karma? Because it is an instruction to be followed every day, carried out every day. Now, the Shastra explains, the various acharyas who commented on this Sandhya Vandanam have explained, it is a Nitya Karma. It has to be done every day. If it is not done someday, then you will get Papa. Akarane Papa Shravan. If you do not do your Sandhya Vandanam, although you are healthy, although you are very fit, and there is no problem in your body or your family, still you are not doing Sandhya Vandanam, then you will get Papa. But if you do Sandhya Vandanam, there is no Punya accruing. You will not get specific Punya result, you will not get on doing Sandhya Vandanam. Doing Sandhya Vandanam every day does not give you some objective result to be attained. But not doing Sandhya Vandanam will give you sin. Therefore, you should do Sandhya Vandanam every day. This is the basic nature of Nitya Karmas. That if you do them, you don't get any result. If you do not do them, you will get Pap. You will get sin. So, Bhakti or remembering Vishnu every day is a Nitya Vidhi, is a Nitya type of an instruction of the Shastra. You should do it every day irrespective of your condition. If you do not remember Vishnu, then you will get sin. You will get Papa. But it is not like Nitya Karma. Like if you do Sandhya Vandanam every day, you do not get a particular objective result. That is not the case with the Nitya Vidhi, with the instruction of thinking of Vishnu every day. When you think of Vishnu every day, you will get a result. If you do Sandhya Vandanam every day, you will not get some objective result. But if you do thinking of Vishnu every day, you will get result. Nityatva Nishchaya. Although it is a Nitya Vidhi, it has a result like following Ekadashi. Another example of Nitya Vidhi is Ekadashi, Janmashtami, these vratas. One should follow the vow of Ekadashi that comes twice a month. It is a Nitya Vidhi. You should do Ekadashi. You should observe Ekadashi. Do fasting, do worship of Vishnu, chant the mantras of Vishnu and so forth. And when you do this observance of Ekadashi, you will also get the result. What is the result? More strong bhakti. You will be blessed with more deeper form of devotion for Vishnu. Your bhakti will become stronger for him. You will progress in your bhakti for Vishnu. That result will be there. In the same way, the Nitya instruction is to think of Vishnu every day. When you think of Vishnu every day, you will progress in Vishnu bhakti. that result will be there. It will not be without a result, as it is with Nitya Karmas described in the Shastras like Sandhya Vandana. Okay. Any question here? Any doubt? Okay. So 11th verse, 10th verse. Yatha ekadashe tu vyaktam eva uktam. It is clearly stated in the 11th skandha of Srimad Bhagavata, 5th chapter, shlokas 2 and 3. मुखबाहूरुपादेभ्यः पुरुषस्याश्रमैः सह चत्वारो जज्ञिरे वर्णा गुणैर्विप्रादयः पृथक् य एषां पुरुषं साक्षात् आत्मप्रभवमीश्वरं न भजन्त्यवजानन्ति स्थानात् भ्रष्टाः पतन्त्यतः. This, the 11th skandha of Srimad Bhagavatam directly states the bad effects of not engaging in remembering Vishnu every day. Okay? So, the 4 varnas and the 4 ashramas are manifest from the mouth, the hands, and the thighs and the feet of Bhagavan Vishnu. Along with the ashramas, they are manifest. And these varnas are existing along with their qualities, varnas and ashramas. A person of these varnas and ashramas who does not worship Bhagavan Vishnu and disobeys him, avajananti, disrespects him, does not. If people of the varnas and ashramas who are directly born from the body of Vishnu, if they do not worship him and disrespect him, they will fall from their positions. They will fall from their varnas. They will fall from their ashramas. They will no longer be brahmanas, Vaishyas, Kshatriyas or Shudras. They will no longer be brahmacharis, grihasthas, vanaprasthas or sannyasis. They will fall down from their varnas and ashramas position. Okay? So this is the result of forgetting Vishnu for one day. Yeah? You will lose your standing in your varnashrama system. Who is Vishnu? Saksha, Atma Prabhavam Ishvara. He is the master, he is Atma Prabhava, he is his own source, he is eternally existing. Okay. So, commentaries. इत्यसाविति कारिकातु एवं क्रियायोगपथः पुमानित्यनन्तरं पठनीया इति शब्देन पूर्वप्रकरणस्य हेतुतायां योग्येन कृतमुखायाः एतस्याः कारिकायाः उपसंहारवाक्यता प्राप्तेः तत्प्रकरणान्त एव योग्यत्वात्. So Jiva Goswami has also commented on the 9th verse. Sorry, I did not see that. So Rupa Goswami's statement that this vidhi is nitya, always remembering Vishnu and never forgetting Vishnu every day, is nitya vidhi, he says. So this appears in the Padma Purana after describing evam kriya yoga pathaif pumaniti anantaram patani. This appears after this verse 1 to 12. Let us see. This is Srimad Bhagavata 11:27-49. Okay, so Jiva Goswami is telling that the verse of Rupa Goswami above, this 9th verse, it should actually come after the 12th verse. Okay, you should read it after this verse, after this quotation from the Mahabharata. No, sorry, after this quotation from the Bhagavad. He gives the reason for that. Iti shabdena purva prakaranasya hetutaya. Iti. Because of the presence of the word iti in this shloka of Rupa Goswami, because the word iti always is connected with what came before this word. The word iti will always be connected with whatever comes before it. So what comes before iti? It is a quotation from Padma Purana. Okay. He has not finished his explanation of that vidhi. Always think of Vishnu every day and do not forget Vishnu any day. He has not concluded his explanation. This iti should come at the end of his explanation, at the end of all the references of the Shastras to support his claim. So he quotes the Padma Purana, he quotes the Srimad Bhagavata here in the 7th verse, quotes the Padma Purana in the 8th verse, he quotes the Bhagavata 2 verses in the verses 10 and 11, and then he quotes the Bhagavata 27 chapter 11 skandha in the 12th verse. After this, he should say iti. Okay. So this verse should come after all of these verses. पूर्व प्रकरणस्य हेतुतायां योग्येन कृतमुखायाः एतस्याः कारिकायाः उपसंहार वाक्यता प्राप्ते. So this karika, this statement of Rupa Goswami in this shloka, this is a nitya vidhi. It is a nitya instruction of the Shastra, but still it has a result. It should come after all his support of the Shastras as a conclusion. It should come as his conclusion after his explanations. Okay. Upasamhara vakyata prapte. Okay. Tat prakarananta eva yogyatvat. It is appropriate to exist only at the end of this section. It should not come before. Okay. So Jiva Goswami is correcting the positioning of the shloka from the number 9 to the number 13. So nice, we saw some literary engagement in this text also, commentary also by Jiva Goswami. So let's end here for our class today. Any questions someone has, any doubts? We'll discuss the shlokas 10, 11 later.
Prabhuji, it's me, Manuji.
Yes, Manoji.
The question is when he says think or remember, does that involve more than just thinking? I see.
Does it involve what?
Does it involve more than just thinking? Because I can see a deity in a temple and then maybe an hour later I can remember, oh, how beautiful that deity was. Does it just mean when he says think or remember, just thinking or remember? Or is it more things involved in that process?
Of course, smaranam is a sadhana. You should always think of Vishnu means there is a particular process of meditating on Vishnu, of thinking of Vishnu. Of course, thinking, just remembering, I went to the temple, I saw the beautiful form of Sri Krishna. So that is also thinking. Okay, you are following the instruction to think of Krishna, but specifically according to the Śāstric process, if you want to follow, then you should think of Krishna, his form in a particular system, in a particular way. You should think that you are offering some flowers to Krishna, worshipping him like that.
Okay, so that's a whole process. It's not
Yes.
just, okay.
It is a process actually, not just haphazard thinking of Vishnu. It is a whole process actually. If you follow the process, then you will get a better result. But anyways, even just thinking of Krishna will give you a lot of results. Okay, you will progress in bhakti very much. That is also sufficient. But if you follow according to the instructions of the Shastras, then your mind will be more and more absorbed in thinking of Krishna.
Okay.
That will.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Yes. Anyone else has a question or doubt? Okay, so let us end our class here for today. And thank you everyone for participating in today's class.
Thank you, Parashit.
Thank you, Parashit.
Sarvam Sri Krishna Namastu.
Radhe Radhe.
Rajesh.